Misfits Boxing is hosting a lightweight tournament to determine who will be the interim lightweight champion and will go up against Deen The Great. And this is a great idea. One of the reasons that I really love this idea is that I was just talking about in one of my last videos how I think there's a problem for Deen The Great because he has so much potential. He's the current champion. His name is growing and growing in popularity, but I just think there is a lack of opponents for him to fight. And I think that this is the perfect way to build up this division, bring in new contenders, not even the winner of the whole tournament, but the rest of the guys. This is building up the entire division for the future. And I think that's a great idea because honestly, in these lighter divisions, it's really just been Deen The Great and Waleed Sharks. One of the reasons for this tournament is that Deen The Great is injured and he won't be able to fight really anytime soon. So we need big matchups. We're seeing some returning faces, a lot of new faces as well, and I'm really excited about it. And speaking of Waleed Sharks, of course, he was the first challenger announced for this tournament. 100%, it makes sense. I think he's one of the better fighters in the tournament. A lot of people who watch Misfits Boxing, keep an eye on it, are gonna have Waleed Sharks as the favorite to win it. But there are definitely some other names who might surprise a lot of people. Waleed, most known now for his 2 fights against Deen The Great, was winning the first fight, pretty dominant performance. Then he got knocked out. What a comeback by Deen The Great. Second fight against Deen The Great, he got beat pretty convincingly. But he has had a lot of wins in between those fights, and he's definitely very skilled. My only worry for Waleed Sharks is that if he wins this whole tournament, I don't know if people really want to see a third matchup between Deen The Great and Waleed Sharks yet. I think it depends on how he wins. If he goes out there and shows that he is improving, he really ups the levels in these performances, then I think it'll be more of a matchup people will want to see. But if he goes out there and kind of looks the same and is able to win while looking the same, wins the tournament, I don't know if the Deen The Great third trilogy is going to be the best call. But I guess we'll have to wait and find out. Up next is someone we actually just saw on the last Misfits event. That is Joey Knight. Very impressive performance. One of the best performances of that night. It was a bit of a mismatch. I think the competition is going to be a lot higher for this tournament. That's one of the things I love about this tournament is that it's a crossover influencer kind of boxing tournament on Misfits, but the skill level is very high. But I like it. He has a lot of buzz around his name right now. This is the perfect way to keep it going. I'm excited to see what he can bring to this tournament. And I think there's a lot of questions around his name still. And now is his chance to prove what he has against these higher skilled opponents. The number 3 challenger is someone we've seen on Misfits a few times now. Not the biggest name, but he has been one of my favorite fighters on the roster, and that is Yuddy Gang. He has been slept on since the moment he has come on to Misfits. Go back and watch the tag team match he had against Deen The Great and Waleed Sharks. This man was putting in work. They lost that tag team, but it was not because of him. I'll tell you that. Very impressive performance after impressive performance. I might even personally pick him as the favorite to win this tournament. He doesn't have the most power from what we've seen, but as they add rounds to these fights, I think he's only going to get better and better. I am hoping these fights aren't 4 rounds. I'm hoping we go 5 or even 6. I believe the guys are skilled enough to do so, and I think Yuddy Gang will become even better the more rounds you add. Don't sleep on Yuddy Gang. Like I said, he's definitely someone to keep an eye out for in this tournament. Number 4 challenger is Lil Cray Cray. Now, personally, I don't know a ton about him, but from what I've seen a good amount of comments talking about him. People are hyping him up. I see a lot of comments saying he is even going to win this tournament. I remember seeing comments about him under my videos a while back when I was talking about opponents for Deen the Great. So many people have been wanting to see him on Misfits, and now is the chance to finally see it happen. I'm excited to see what he brings. I've seen some clips. He is impressive. He's aggressive, but he's smart about it. He's definitely going to be one of the more competitive guys in this tournament, and I'm really excited to see who he's matched up against. The 5th challenger is Ace Musa. Now, like I said, this is a competitive tournament. The skill level is high, and I do think that Ace is skilled. And I'll also say that I don't know a ton about him. I have seen clips in the past. I don't think he's going to be one of the better contenders on this list. I could definitely see a first round exit for my man Ace Musa, depending on who he's matched up against. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's going to go out there and prove that he is one of the better guys on Misfits. I guess we'll have to wait and find out. I just kind of have him as an underdog going into it. The number 6 challenger, and I'm being honest, another man I don't really know much about. Not really my fault on this one. He has a smaller following, not a lot of buzz around his name, and that's okay. We got the Tasmanian Devil. And from what I've seen, this is a big dude. He is not really a lightweight fighter, at least I'll say in the past. He has definitely had to lose a lot of weight for this, or has lost weight over the past year. Something like that, because I've seen some pictures of the guy, and he was looking pretty big. Like I said, a smaller following. Some people were upset that he is getting this opportunity. I'm not upset by it. I think this scene has to grow. The lightweight division especially, it's good to bring in new faces, give them an opportunity. I hope he makes the most of this opportunity. I really haven't seen much footage on him, so let's move on. The number 7 challenger is the Argentinian King. I'm going to be honest here again. I think we might have another first round exit. No disrespect, because again, there's not much footage out there of him fighting. But from what I have gathered, he is not as experienced as most of the other guys in this tournament. And that's not his fault. I'm sure he's going to develop in the future. Just right now, from what I have gathered, the experience is going to hurt him. He might get a little shocked in there, depending on who he's matched up against. I really don't know how they're doing these matchups, but I wish him the best. I know he actually has one of the bigger followings in this tournament, so that'll be good. Bring in some new eyes to the scene. Another underdog for this tournament. And that leads us to our final challenger, number 8, Baby Hulk, an MMA fighter making his way to Misfits. You may have seen him on the YouTube channel Street Beefs. He's had a few fights over there, some very big viral fights over there. He's also had some other fights in MMA, which he is known for. He is very talented, but he's definitely not a primarily boxer when it comes to MMA. And I think when you eliminate his skills from MMA and restrict him to simply boxing, it might hurt him in this tournament when you consider the skill level of some of these other guys. I think he's a tough guy. He is definitely a great fighter, but when it comes to boxing and the skill of it, I think the other guys, most of them, are going to be more skilled. I think his power could be a big factor in helping to tier that. I love that he's in this tournament. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, but I think it might take him some time adjusting from MMA to just boxing. That is it. Those are the 8 challengers for the Misfits lightweight interim title tournament. I'm very excited to see this go down. This was a great idea. I think it's a fun way to keep influencer boxing interesting, build up the lightweight division. I don't know how they're doing the matchups, decide who's going up against who. I don't know if it's their number 1 challenger versus the number 8, and then they break it down from there, or if they're going to do more of a draw, like a live draw like the Kingpin tournament did. I have no idea. I don't think they've announced that. When they announce the full tournament, who's going up against who, I'm going to come out with a full prediction for who I think is going to win each matchup and win the entire tournament. So stay tuned. What do you guys think of this tournament? Who do you have winning it all? Let me know. Subscribe for more boxing content and updates, more combat sports updates. The support is much appreciated. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.